Can we build a company that does not have that manipulative, ego, fear-based leadership,
Yeah.
but still is a successful company where people can make life-changing money?
Yes.
Is it possible? And I will tell you today, I believe that it's possible, but I will also tell you it is a completely different process
Yes.
because of it.
Welcome to Kingdom Over Everything. I am your host and Chief Fire Igniter, Shay Bynes. And I have with me Michelle Schaffer from Kingdom Alliance, CEO, founder, and all the goodness. What is going on, Michelle?
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Gosh, anything that I get to do with you is my favorite thing.
Well, I'm so glad that we got to sit and hang out. I was looking up because I want to see how long ago did I meet Michelle? Because I feel like I've known you for years. So
Yes.
we met a little less than 2 years ago
That
now.
can't be true.
It is. It is. I looked it up. November will be 2 years since our first call.
Yeah, I rebuke that because I feel like we've known each other our whole lives and
I'm telling you.
it's like one of those things and you meet and you have this soul connection, like you
Yes.
actually like I feel like I got you and you got me immediately.
Yes. That's right. That's right. I agree. And so it's just been super fun getting to know you. And now your husband too, and Savannah, like the whole crew. And so it's just super good. And so thanks for hanging out with me today. For those listening here, Michelle, we're gonna have to go back. We got to go back to the story because Kingdom Alliance. I want you to share first what that is, but then I want to go backwards. Okay, so share what Kingdom Alliance is first.
Yes, we are a digital platform for growth, powered by network marketing. So we help people to grow in their faith. We help them to grow in their skill development, personal development through like digital resources, virtual academies, and certifications, on demand courses. And we also have a network marketing aspect. So all of our marketing effort is done by our people that are in our community,
Yep.
and we are on a mission to do two things. I feel very called to mobilize Christians. I hope that at some point our company is evangelistic in nature because people will come for the resources and they'll meet the Holy Spirit. So,
Yeah.
of course, that's always at the top of my list.
Yes.
But really, my vision here is I want to create more Christian millionaires from this company than any other company in the world.
Awesome. And are you U.S. Like where are you now geographically? What does that look like?
Mostly the US, but because of the fact that our product is digital, we can be anywhere in any
Yeah.
country. So we represent 13 countries right now. They're all English speaking, or at least predominantly English speaking or equally English speaking. And in the beginning I thought, how would we ever go into another language because it's so cumbersome. I mean, as we speak, we have 400 modules on demand. How do you transcribe all those? But now because of AI, we can
Yes.
do it like at a moment's notice. So as the company grows and we do come into markets that are not English speaking, now there's a pathway to go into another language seamlessly
Yes.
and with such less cost than it was going to cost me and so much faster than it was going to be done. So there, because of technology, now that door is completely open.
Yes. I'm just saying, as you were saying that, I was laughing, thinking about when you sent me a text because I had recorded a testimonial from when I was a speaker coach at Kim 10. You guys, it's like TED, but it's all kingdom focused, 10 minutes, kingdom impact talks. Anyways, you should check it out, kim10.com. But I did that testimonial for you, and then you sent it back to me, and I was speaking Spanish. I was like, what in the world? It
Wild
was pretty
because
impressive.
it's wild because, I mean, it's not exactly perfect, but it's your
It
voice.
was. It was
It's
really
your
freaky, actually.
voice in another language with the accent. It's a
Yes.
trip and it matches your lips. So, yeah, because of that, I mean, it's kinda scary, but it's kind of really cool for what we're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. That's so fun. Okay. And so one of the things that really caught my attention when we first met was the fact that I was like, oh, this is a network marketing company, but this is a kingdom focus. And then when I heard your heart around this, and I was asking you, all the things, asking you all the questions about, just your heart behind it and all of those things. And I just love seeing the ways the heart of the kingdom show up in different industry spaces. And so we're definitely gonna have that conversation. But I want to know a bit of your network marketing story because you don't just start with like I'm starting a kingdom focused network marketing company. So we got to go back. I need to know. Let's go back to the story.
Okay, well, so I think in order to make it make sense, I have to go back even before my network marketing journey.
Great.
I was a teen mom. I had my first child at 16, married my high school sweetheart, had my second child at 19. By the time I was 21 years old, I was divorced with two kids. So I was a very good student. I was on a pathway to college and then became a mother. And so that obviously puts a big wrench in your plans. So
Yeah.
in trying to figure out my way, I went to a semester of college, thought I would be a teacher. After one semester, I was like, this is not my path. I couldn't imagine 5 years of doing that and trying to work full time. And at the end of that, getting a job in teaching, making at the time, it's been many years now, but at the time, getting a job making $30,000 a year, that was
Right.
not what I envisioned for myself or my children. So I went a completely different direction. I put myself through cosmetology school. I live in California. That took me it would take a normal person about a year, but it took me 2 years because I worked full time and I was a single mom. And so I built a very successful business as a stylist and a makeup artist in California, and single, happy, like proud of myself. But I always knew that wasn't going to be my gig for the rest of my life. I
Mm.
loved what I did and it was great for what it was, but I kind of always had an open ear to like opportunity. I'm still the same way. I always thought of all these businesses, never had any money to start any business. But I had all these ideas for business. So I just kind of kept my ear open. And back in those days, you're talking about the very, very early 2000s. We didn't have all the options that we have today.
Right.
It was just a few things. And I had heard about network marketing, but it was like a fairy tale to me because people would sit in my chair and prospect me and tried to get me into network marketing, but they weren't making any money. And they would tell
Mm.
these stories like, oh, so and so's cousin's sister's aunt's making X amount of money. And I was like, they lie. Everybody's lying. It's not true.
Right.
And what it seemed like to me then was because I had a lot of stay at home moms that sat in my chair, that it was what stay at home moms did that were bored trying to make a little extra money and have an excuse to
Ah.
have a party. That's what I
Okay.
thought about network marketing.
Yes.
It just wasn't interesting because I was like, I'm already working crazy hours. I don't need to work more hours for $300 extra.
Right.
So I just wasn't interested. But when I met my now husband. We've been together for 24 years. I met him on a blind date, and he was the number two income earner in a network marketing company. So I
Oh,
actually got to see the success side of network marketing that everybody talked about, like upfront and personal. We ended up
I didn't
getting
know that
married.
part. I just learned something new.
Oh, you did it?
I
Yeah.
didn't know
Oh,
that part.
I have a whole thing behind that because like we were dating and our first couple dates, we went places and people literally asked him, "Are you Bob Schaefer?" I thought he set it up. I literally thought he like planted people at these places we went to make him look like he was like a big dog. Like this is what I was like, nobody knows you. Who are these people that know you? Anyway, there's a whole thing
That
behind
is
that.
hilarious.
It was really funny because he was kinda cocky back then. He was, like, young 30s, making all this money, you
Uh-huh.
know? So, anyway, we get married, we have my 3rd, his 1st, and, doing the thing. He had started a mortgage company with a couple of other guys, so he was out of network marketing at that
Okay.
time, but we were going 5 different directions every day. My oldest daughter was a freshman in high school, my son was in middle school, and then we had the baby, she was 2-ish, and she was going to daycare,
Okay.
and I'm working in the salon, 5 or 6 days a week, and he's working at the mortgage company. Then you have random sports and all those things, church on
Uh-huh.
Sunday. It was like life was just like happening so fast
Yeah.
and it was no quality of life. We were making enough money to live. We even
Yeah.
bought a boat, but we could never go anywhere or do anything. We were
Couldn't enjoy
like
the boat.
we couldn't do anything. We had no life. And something inside me was shifting dramatically. And I felt, because I had been a single mom for almost 7 years before I met Bobby. Now I'm married. We're making plenty of like we have all like it looks like everything's great. But I just felt like the real thing was I felt like my kids were gonna grow up and move out and they would have never known me and I wouldn't know
Mm.
them. Because once your kids enter high school, you blink and it's gone.
Yeah.
And so I got to go to one of my daughter's basketball games and zero of her softball games. And there was I had a knot in the pit of my stomach all day, every day, all night, every night,
Wow.
praying, God, help me. I have to get home. I have to be with my kids before they're gone. Still
Yeah.
makes me feel emotional because Like, that's the one thing I can't get back is the years of me working to just make ends meet, and now they're all adults,
Right.
34, 32, and almost 32 and almost 22. And so, at that time, so this is all swirling around in my head, and a girl that was a client of mine was in a network marketing company. She had been trying to get me to sign up into her deal for a year and a half, and I was like, I'm never sign up with her. Thought she was like dingy blonde, didn't like not, I was just like, I would never sign up with her. So she comes in this day to get her hair done, and she's doing her thing, telling me, "Oh, one of these days you're gonna sign up." And I was just kind of like grouchy. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm never gonna do it. I said, "If you want me to sign up so bad," I said, "then tell me how much you're making." Because that was the bottom line for me. It
Right.
wasn't about passion or mission, it was about I can't come home until I replace an income.
Right.
And so she told me, she goes, "Well, this month I'll make about $13,000." And I thought, and this was about 2004-ish.
Okay.
And I probably made 10 to $12,000 a month, but I made it standing behind the chair working 50 to 60 hours a
Right.
week. And so I thought, I did not show it. I did not break. I
Yeah.
did not want her to
Poker
know that
face.
she slayed me, like, but I thought in my mind, "Huh, if this dingy girl could do this, I could do it, and I could probably do it better and faster because I have Bobby who knows network marketing."
Right.
So I went home and I talked to Bobby and I was like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna do this because so and so's doing this, and she's making that." And he's like, "This is a super old company. It has a terrible comp plan, but whatever you want to do, I support you." And I said, "I don't care if it's I don't care what it is. She did this. She did it in 18 months. I could do it faster." So I enrolled. It was the first time I ever enrolled in a network marketing company. I signed up 5 people in my first week, and Bobby's like, I was like, "What do I do now?" And he goes, "Okay, here's what you do." So he mentored me, immediately stepped in to mentor me, and within 6 months, I started in June,
Yeah.
in I think it was like 2004, and but I retired from doing hair in December.
Wow.
And I didn't match my income, but 9 months later, I had matched my income, and I was in on this profession
Was this
that
like health and were these like health and wellness products, beauty stuff? Like
it was
what
beauty.
was the
It was skincare and makeup,
Okay.
and, it was an old company, and it was a terrible comp plan, but it was the company itself was in momentum, and I was ignorance on fire with the desperation to like,
I
I can
love
work.
it.
I will outwork anybody. Like, I can work hard, and I did. I worked really, really hard. It was very, very hard doing both for those first 6 months, but I would just my whole philosophy about life is, if here's where you are and here's where you wanna go, how can I get there the fastest? I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna walk. I'm not gonna crawl. I'm gonna run and sprint as hard, even though I'm gonna be out of breath. I'm gonna do whatever I can to get to here as fast as possible.
Yes.
I'll jump over hurdles. I'll crawl through the mud, but I want to get there fast
Right.
because I felt time was running against me. I
Right.
needed to get home before it was too late with my kids. And so, anyway, 20 years in the profession, we've been with a handful of other companies. We built together, he and I have built 3 separate businesses from scratch to 6 figures, multiple 6 and 7 figures. We owned a company that lasted from 2010 to most of 2012 with investors. They kicked us out of the company that we owned. That's a whole different story, but it was a huge blessing in the end. And in 2019, I felt God calling me out, and I was actually mad. I had just published a book about network marketing. God had been let me say this. I had always been taught by Bobby and everybody else, if you really want to be successful, you don't talk about politics or religion ever.
Right.
You don't want to like upset half of the people that could be your market. So
Yeah.
I never did. But God was like behind the scenes, God was radically changing me and
Mhm.
working on my life behind the scenes. And it was bleeding out slightly into things, but I feel like I always say, like, we have Christianese, so only Christians recognize certain language. Like,
Right.
outside of the family of faith, nobody says the word rebuke. Who even says, like, you know what I
What are
mean?
your favorite words?
It's my favorite. It's like one of my favorites. We even made a t-shirt about it because I love it so much. But like there would be some recognition of people that shared the faith, but it was not a part of what we did.
Right.
And in 2017, I'm going to go backwards again. Um I felt God asked me the question, like, you're promoting all these things, but you don't talk about me. And if you weren't worried about offending people with your faith, what would you sound like? So
Mm.
I started a podcast in 2017, like very tiny. I did not do this big launch plan or because I was like, I'll do it. I'm going to be obedient, but nobody's going to know about it. Like
I'm gonna be
it's going to be,
quietly obedient.
yes, it is gonna be the most silently obedient thing I've ever done. And so it was just me and a microphone. It wasn't audio. I mean, I was only audio podcasting then. And I started talking about everything through the lens of faith. And it was like the real me was born. I've never felt so naked and authentic and real and good as I did when I was talking about everything through the
Yeah.
lens of faith because that's how I lived.
Yes.
Like, I lived that way,
Right.
but it's not how I it was not my public, like, I don't know, branding to use the word. It wasn't what I put out there.
Yes.
And over time of doing that, I completely changed. Like, anything that didn't allow me to be that version of me
Yep.
started to just feel ick and
Yes.
out of alignment. So, 2019 now, I've been podcasting for a couple of years. um, I felt I felt like God was like, "You're done doing network marketing." And I was like, "That's messed up because I've been doing this for 16 years. You
Yes.
have me on this path for 16 years. You just helped me write a book in 3 weeks and I just got published and now you're telling me to leave?" I was making the most money I'd ever made, built the biggest team that we had ever built in network marketing, and you're telling me that I'm done? And but I along the way, I've learned a million lessons, and even though I didn't get it and actually didn't want it, I said, "Whatever wherever you want me to go, I'll go." Like,
Yes.
I don't know where are you taking me? I don't know where you're even taking me." And there was a period of about 4 months of nothing.
So you left.
Just
Okay. So from the time that you're like, no, he's instructing me that it's time to go, and you actually going, what was the period of time?
4 months. No,
So
no, 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 no,
after he
immediate.
said to go.
After he said to go, I immediately backed off. Like,
Oh
so when I
wow.
say I left, like in network marketing, if you do it right, um, you can walk away sort of and keep what you have as long as until it fades away. And so
Oh.
I pulled back. Like, I stopped doing a lot of the things that I was doing. I just pulled all the way back. I wasn't recruiting, I wasn't teaching and training, and I just had my head down praying whatever. At the end of 2019, okay,
Yeah.
God told me two things that I felt with clarity. Like, sometimes you're like, is this you? God, this was clear.
Mhm.
And the first one, this is at the end of the year. I still don't have direction. I know I'm not supposed to be doing that. I had ideas. Maybe I'm supposed to go work in my church. I just had all these little, like, I knew women, community kingdom. I didn't know, but that nothing was connected. But God told me two things. Number one was there's about to be a massive shift in the church, the
Mhm.
kingdom. That was number one. Number two is we're entering the largest revival that we've ever seen. Women are going to be the catalyst for that revival. Specifically, it was going to be women in the marketplace. So those two things were the catalyst that kind of pulled the string on a bunch of things that I had ideas for together. And I began to launch what at the time I was going to build this kind of local event that happened once a month that in my mind could be something that turned into chapters where
Right.
women all around the country and all around the world would meet once a month. They would grow together, learn, talk about the Lord. And then COVID hit.
Yep.
So then this in person thing that I was building wasn't going to happen. So it turned to a completely online model. And I launched that in June of 2020. It was called Girl Power Alliance. There's just a membership where I was collaborating with other women and their content, and I was creating content. We were all learning together and growing together, keeping Christ at the center. And so that was the foundation of what is this now. And I
Yeah.
went into it. I had never built any kind of a digital course. I knew not very much about tech. I didn't know anything about anything because I'd been in network marketing for
Right.
16 years, So this was a completely everything new, everything new. But I knew Jesus,
Yes.
and I could talk about Jesus, and I knew personal development, and I could talk about personal development, but every other piece of this was new.
Yes. So then how long so when did the shift come to this is a from going from this is a membership community where we're meeting online and all of those things and developing to this is going to be a network marketing structure?
Yeah. Okay. So, because he told me I'm called out. right? He told me I called out. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go all in. I missed it. I'm like, I missed it. I missed a lot of the aspects of it, but like almost turned my that part of my brain off. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I like shut myself down from thinking about it
Right.
anymore. And there were moments along the way, Bobby and I would talk about like, be cool if this I was like, nope. He told me I'm not doing this. I'm out. No. And anyway, it was about a year, over a year and a half later, and it just was almost like a hobby. It wasn't growing in the way that I would have needed it to grow. And because I walked away from another business, over time that begins to go away.
Sure.
So going from making the most money you've ever made to now, it's going to dwindle.
Yep.
And it will the longer you stay away from it, gains momentum in dwindling, like it starts to dwindle faster.
Right.
So I was like, what did I do? I blew up our life for what? This is almost just like a hobby. I'm just
Yeah.
investing in it. I'm not making any money. It wasn't even really paying for itself at that time. Um, and so I actually came to Bobby. It was November of 21. And I came to him and I cried and I said, I think I made a mistake. I think I didn't hear God. I don't think I was supposed to do this. I don't know. And he's like, what do you want to do? I go, I don't know. I don't know what to do. But I can't do another year like this.
Right.
And it was great, don't get me wrong, it was great, but I'm an entrepreneur. Like,
Yes.
we are moved by progress, and that's what fuels me. And women were loving it and loving the community, and there was transformations, but it was all so slow that
Yeah.
it was hurting, like, it was hurting me, it was so slow. Do you know what I mean? Does that sound bad?
No, I'm just laughing because I know you now, so I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this as you're telling me this story, and it's funny. That's all.
It was like, I felt like a failure.
Uh huh.
I really felt like a failure because I it's like, you've heard the statement, "Success loves speed." Well, I
Yeah.
do too,
Yeah.
and so it just felt like it was slow. So,
Right.
I was on a phone call with somebody, and she said, "Oh, I was talking to so and so," and the person that she was talking to said, "It's too bad this isn't a network marketing company." Now, I had said no to that for the last couple of years, over and over and over and over and over. And in this moment, these words came out of my mouth. I said, "Well, we could." And in that instant, there was a shift that God dropped into my spirit,
Yep.
and well, I I wasn't sure if it was God
Okay.
at that moment.
Okay.
I just thought when I said that, I was like, "Oh, why did you even say that?"
Yeah.
And then I was actually afraid of it because up until that particular moment in my life, and even since then, anything that God has ever asked of me was never lined up with what I was trying to do.
Yep.
It was always like, I'm going this way. God's like, hey, like, you're gonna go over there now.
Right.
Everything. I'd never been going down this road and God's like, "Atta girl, keep going." Never. That's never happened. And
Like
here
we're
it
turning
was.
left, we're turning right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I've really, really doubted that feeling. So I prayed, did some due diligence. And my husband, Bobby, you've met him.
Yes.
He's
Love him.
slower at making decisions. This is not a negative. This
Yeah.
is something I very much love about his personality. I'm decide, activate immediately. He's like, think about it,
Yeah.
look at all the left, right, look at all the aspects of it, the fuller picture than I see
Yeah.
usually. And he will give me this incredibly considerate, thoughtful decision.
Yes.
So I come to him and I say, here's what I'm thinking, blah, blah. And I know that it's gonna like, he's gonna think on it, he's gonna get back to me in a couple days, but a
Yeah.
week, who knows how long it'll take him. And so I said, "Here's what I'm thinking, like, let me paint a picture for you. This could be the idea, blah, blah, blah." And he goes, "Let's do it."
Wow.
He has never, like, if we wanted to buy this pen, it would take him longer to tell me,
Right. Than he did
"This
at
is
that
the
moment.
right this is the right pen for us." And so that if I like, that was a massive
Yes.
confirmation from the Lord because he
Yes.
just doesn't do that. So we decided that we were going to take what the foundation of what we had built, the idea of what we had built, this community of personal professional development, and that was the foundation for the complete restructure of the company. We added to the product and we built a whole compensation plan around it, and we launched in 2022 as
Yes.
Girl Power Alliance, the network marketing company.
Okay. Now, when you got to the point where Bobby's like, let's do it, and you guys are taking a look at what you're building in the network marketing model. Talk to me about the things that are standard, perhaps common in the network marketing industry or structure that you were like, and that's not in alignment with who I am. And so therefore it can't be in alignment with how we show up and how we build this thing. Talk to me about some of those decisions you had to make and what some of those differences are.
Yeah. Well, I had seen in network marketing in particular, because there's a lot of believers in network
Oh
marketing.
yeah.
And one of the things that really turned me off, and part of why I never talked about my relationship with the Lord, was I saw a lot of like manipulation from leaders. Like, oh, you like I don't know. I felt like they used their faith to manipulate people to
Mm,
get them to sign up with them.
yeah.
And I was, of course, extraordinarily turned off by this. I was
Right.
like, that's not like that's not the thing.
Yeah.
And of course, people want to be aligned with believers. They like doing business with believers. I'm sure you remember back in the day, like I'm older than you, but you remember back in the day people used to put the little fish on their
Oh yeah.
cards.
Oh yeah.
Like so you were like, those my people. I'm gonna do business with that, like, that handyman because he's a believer. So people, we like to do business with people that we know share our faith and support them. But in network marketing, there's already, I think, a lot of emotional manipulation, a lot of manipulative leadership
Mhm.
from even just from the corporate standpoint down into the field. And so it was always a very, very big turnoff to me. And it's why I was so like part of why I was so leery to share my faith because I could influence people,
Yeah.
but I didn't wanna manipulate people
Right.
and have them think a certain thing, and, you have these people that I saw behind the curtain. I was in the back rooms with all the top leaders at a couple of companies, and,
Yeah.
they say one thing on stage, and backstage, they are not those people.
Right.
Everybody thinks they're this good Christian couple, and backstage, they're not.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of integrity issues when it came to leadership. And so I was very, Bobby and I were very cognizant of that. And then just in general, the rules in network marketing create a very kind of almost like, I can't think of another word other than clicky or culty environment. It's like if you're in, you're in, and if you're out, like
You're
you're
banned.
shunned. You're shunned. Like it's like the Amish community. If you're dead to us, if you're
Right,
not
right.
here anymore, you traitor. I hated that. It's like, yeah, last week you were my actual best friend and you were tagging me in posts. Now that I'm with another company, not only have you unfriended me, you're bad mouthing me into the
Right.
whole world saying what a jerk I am and all these things. So that was very prevalent in the network marketing profession. I don't know if it's like that in other professions, but network marketing certainly does. And it's a lot of fear-based leadership, like if somebody leaves, they're gonna destroy our income. I mean, it's just there's a
Right.
lot of toxicity around
Yeah.
that. There's also this element of raising up leaders from an edification standpoint that the companies do with the top earners. They
Mhm.
raise them up because you want to celebrate the people that do good. But in the network marketing environment, it becomes super toxic. So the people in the field, they raise regular people just because they're making money up to these like deity status, and it gets out of whack. Most people, you see it in the world of celebrities, they literally cannot handle that.
Yeah.
It's too much for their psyche, and things change for them, the
Wow.
way they behave, their decisions. And so I saw a lot of that. So I was very cognizant of Bobby and I. It was like my biggest thing. Can we build a company? Can we build a company that does not have that manipulative, ego, fear-based leadership,
Yeah.
but still is a successful company where people can make life-changing money?
Yes.
Is it possible? And I will tell you today, I believe that it's possible, but I will also tell you it is a completely different process
Yes.
because of it.
Yes.
Because people don't recognize this kind of a culture. They love it, but they don't recognize it. And the people that are attracted to that kind of like the bright lights and the shiny object thing, they aren't attracted to us
You
because
guys aren't you're not a bright, shiny, shiny object, Michelle?
I don't we're like we don't we d- I don't like we worship Jesus, not the
Right.
people. Like
Right.
and so for the people that want to be worshiped in that type of a leadership environment, they are not attracted to who we are because I
Right.
think they can see from the outside like I'm we edify and we celebrate every like our leaders for sure,
Yes.
but we're also keeping God at the center
Right.
and it looks different.
Yeah, and I remember in one of our conversations, you were sharing that one of the aspects of things that you did differently was something that was typical in a network marketing structure. Sure, is that someone could come, you could like kind of bring in a leader and just kind of pop them in a
Oh,
space.
yeah. Yeah.
And I remember you specifically saying to me, "We're not going to do that. Like, we are going to people come in and
Yeah.
they grow, but we're not gonna, like, pluck somebody from this company and say, 'Now you can be right here.'" So you went from deity status over there to now deity status over
Yeah.
here. You're like, "We're not going to do that." But I guess, so I have a couple of things going through my head. So, one, you were saying you weren't gonna do that, so that makes sense to me. The other thing is, if the culture is that it's kind of cultures and it keeps you in the company and then you get banished if you leave, that also means that somebody can't be in another company and then say, I'm very interested in this too, and still do it and still do the other company if they have rules that they can't do other companies or get kicked out. So that means that then they've got to say, I'm all in
Yes.
on Kingdom Alliance now,
Yes.
and you also didn't draw them based off of you weren't drawing them off of putting the celebrities in front of them and say, or to manipulate them into or what have you, right? And so because you're not using those methodologies and you're not focused on that, it's kind of a different process for someone who's making a decision or considering if this is something they want to do. Is that a fair
Yes.
analysis?
So one day I'm going to write a book about this because there's backdoor deals that happen in network marketing. Maybe every profession has them, but in network marketing it's really insidious because the masses don't know that I took Shay Bynes, who was making X amount of money and had reached X amount of status at this company, and kind of came over here and we said, if you come here, we'll do XYZ for you. We'll position you in a different position. We'll put people under you, or we'll give you a salary for this long. Like it's almost like when you get drafted to a team and they give you a signing bonus.
Yes.
In network marketing, this happens. And so what not that necessarily it's wrong that people do that, but what's wrong is then those same people get on the stage and they talk about how big of a team they've built or how much money they've made and never ever ever tell anybody that they had an advantage.
Right.
So Susie Q, who's been at the company for 7 years and can't get past X rank, is now wondering what's wrong with me
Yep.
because I've done all these things and you've only been here 6 months and you've reached this status. I must be a loser.
It's a
And
smoke
it
and
create
mirror.
it's
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors, and nobody ever talks about those deals, and they never will, and they never will. And what I also saw over the 16 years of being in the profession, it's 20 now, is that when a company starts, 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, they will pay people to come in, most likely taking them from another company, like they're recruiting them. Like not when you recruit in network marketing, they're like headhunting you and
Right.
offering you something because that leader can build a team. And
Yes.
so they'll pay them and position them in all these deals to get them over. And I know why they do it. It works. That's
Yes.
why they do it. But we decided that we were just going to let it happen organically. Come what may.
Yep.
Like we were going to let it happen organically. We're not going to do backdoor deals. Um period. And we tried it in when we worked corporately, we saw it never worked. People took the money and ran. When we owned a company, we did the same thing. We had a group of people that they wanted $15,000 each. There was 3 of them to come over and we said, "Okay, we'll give it to you in $5,000 increments. 5,000 when you come on board, 5,000 when you hit this rank, and 5,000 when you hit this." All 3 of those people, they were kind of a group together. They took the $5,000 and then they literally fell off the face of the earth. Literally, we never saw them again. So I Bobby
Wow.
and yeah.
Wow.
Bobby and I saw over and over that people just play that game because
Yeah.
maybe one time they had success in the profession of network marketing and then they tried to parlay that into all these deals or whatever. So we just decided that like come what may, we're not going to do that. And we
Yeah.
haven't done that. And you know, It is what it is, but
Yes.
there's integrity in what we're doing, and
That's
so
right.
because but when I say there's not the bright lights and there's no hype.
Right.
Like, I am a excitable person, so I sound hypey maybe, but there's no hype. Like,
Right.
what you see is what you get,
Yes.
and it's real, and the foundation is solid, and, the people that are rising in the ranks, it's happening because it's legitimate and
Yeah.
organic and real.
Yeah. So then I have to ask you, as the one who loves speed, and you've chosen a path that's more aligned with the king, which leads to some of the things that might slow something down, at least on the front end, than ways that might be done else, in other ways that would not necessarily be in alignment. How are you doing, Michelle, in functioning in a different pace, making those intentional decisions, moving in that pace, and just trusting God that, like, what you see, like, knowing, like, no, I know that this is possible, doing it this way that's like aligned with his mind, aligned with his heart, aligned with what he showed me. But I'm also, if the internal part of you that loves the speed is having to navigate that. How are you doing
Mm.
in this
It makes
process, Michelle?
it makes me wanna cry. I have never had so much transformation in my own life as I have with this company, and God has used it to really, really change a lot of things about me. I still wanna run. I literally, actually, this moment, have running shoes on while we're recording this podcast. But I have just surrendered it. I've just, like, I've surrendered it. What so there's a little mantra that I have. There's a couple things that I said, Lord, align the desires of my heart with the desires of yours. Like, if there's something in there that's not what you want, pluck it, get rid of
Yeah.
it. I don't want it. I don't want to think it. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to have it played over in my head. Align the desires of my heart with yours. And then the second one is this: God, I'll do the work and I will give the result to you.
Hmm.
Like, I'll do what you ask me to do. I'll be obedient. I will move as fast as you designed me. Like, he made me the way that I am.
You
So
sure
that's
did.
my nature. But I will not, I will fight against my nature, and I will allow whatever the result is to be the result that you want.
Yeah.
And so it is a dying of myself daily, daily, daily. And I just believe so wholeheartedly in what we're doing and the way that we're doing it. And, now with, like, we're rebranding, and it's almost like a whole new company is being birthed. But what I have learned over the last 4 years about leadership, my relationship with him, trust, surrender, it is I was resilient before,
Yeah.
but now,
Yeah,
like,
clearly you were.
it was like it's a new level of resilience and trust, in doing what we've done here.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing good.
Good. I love that. It's funny, it's, when I was, let's see, when was that? I came to when was the first, was it October? And when I came to San Diego
Yeah, last
last
October.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I had an opportunity, so this was on the other side of what's now called Kingdom Speakers Academy.
Uh-huh.
And there was a group of ladies, maybe 20 something women there, and they had just been through, I don't know how many weeks, maybe 12 weeks or something of training around speaking. They were getting a handle on, like, how to communicate their stories and stuff like that. And I remember being in that room. Like, my job was to be a speaker coach, and then we were selecting the people that were going to be able to share their talk on stage at your Activate event, which was immediately after that certification event. And what was really obvious to me was that every single person in that room had been transformed by whatever it was that they were experiencing over, whether it be that 12 weeks or whatever was happening prior to that 12 weeks, that, in their process with you all, into Speakers Academy and that 12 weeks. It was so obvious. I have no idea how many of those folks do the business part and how many of them are there to just receive and grow and, enjoy community. But clearly, God is doing all kinds of goodness in the midst of what you're doing. It's like you get to look at, I know what helped me with Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur, an early, slow moving pace when I would prefer a faster pace. was consistently seeing like what he was doing in people and what he
Yes.
was doing in the context of community, and seeing him do stuff that it's like I had never even seen before, where it was just really awesome. It's just so I was growing and learning more about who God is and how he's expressed. And I was learning all of that in the context of serving and growing at a slow pace in the beginning of walking that out. And I felt like when I was there in San Diego and listening to their stories and getting a chance to chat with them, it reminded me of what that was like, and how it was those types of stories that helped me
Yeah.
to keep going even when it was just like, is this really working?
Yeah. Well, I people will ask me like, "What is your vision for the company?" And as an in a net the network marketing space, people wanna know, like, the number. What are
Yeah,
you looking to reach? The number of people, the number like, your sales number or whatever, and I always say, I'm not gonna say what my number is because I don't wanna put a lid on what God wants to do,
come
but
on.
I will tell you that what my goal another one of my goals that I will say out loud is
Yeah.
that I wanna be the company that has the biggest impact, and if I measure the last 4 years on impact, then we have far exceeded anything that I ever could have imagined. I've watched God do literally unreal things in people's lives,
Yep.
and it happens. I I I only attribute it to him
Yeah.
and the way that he put this whole thing together. Certainly nothing I could have come up with, but the transformations are big and they happen
Yes.
for like everybody that comes into this community that engages at all.
Yes.
And it's it's beyond my comprehension,
Yeah.
truly beyond my comprehension, and so I am in awe most days of the messages that we get from somebody saying, we have a woman right now, she's in her 80s
Oh,
in our
that's awesome.
and she gets on every call, and she just went live for the first time on Facebook yesterday,
Nice, nice.
talking about her journey, and she wants to, like, impact lives,
Come
and
on.
it's amazing what God's doing.
I love it. I love it. And it reminds me also of the word that God gave you on kind of the front end of this, where, and this is what the Lord was showing me years ago as well, is just this movement in the marketplace. I mean, really, he's been giving that word to folks since the 70s, and we just consistently just see it happening more and more. But that thing that you said about women being the catalyst, I've probably now heard that about 8 or 9 times
Wow.
just over the last handful of years, and mostly, by the way, mostly from men, Michelle, who said, "This
Ooh,
is what the Lord showed me."
wow.
Mostly men that said women are a significant catalyst for what God's doing in the marketplace.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, I'm here for it. I take all the things about my personality that are like too much and want to go too fast. Take all of those out of the equation. I First of all, I have never felt like I could be wholly myself ever anywhere, and I didn't know that until I was because I
Mm,
was too much for church. And I was too much like I was not churchy enough for church, like I was
right.
too business girl, and then I
Yeah.
was too churchy in the business world and like
Yeah.
just who I am and being driven to help people build wealth. That's like in some churches like, you're
Right.
devil woman. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then over in these other circles talking about building wealth and then talking about how Jesus helps you, they're like, you're too like so I didn't fit anywhere. But
Right.
I just was used to it. That's the
Yes.
world. And but then when you get to be in an environment where you don't have to hold anything back from who you are, it is the most there is more freedom in that than I can ever express. And I think
Yes.
because God allowed me to do that, everybody comes in and they all get to do the same thing. They
That's
get to
right.
be exactly who they are.
Yep.
And once you've felt that, you can't be any other way.
That's right.
Everything
There's
else
no
is
going back.
yeah, there's no going back, and so
That's
we have
right.
this whole community of different people, like, everyone is so different, and they all just get to be wholly themselves,
Yes.
and work toward becoming, like, holy, WHO, and then
Yes.
they get to work to becoming more holy,
Yeah.
HOLY, and we're all in this great mission, and it's really, really fulfilling, and I wake up every day, and some days I'm tired, and I'm like, "Oh, no, there's things I don't wanna make decisions on today." Like,
Yeah.
decision fatigue is an actual thing. I never knew it before this. It's real.
Yes.
So some days I'm like, Bobby will be like, "What do you want? Don't ask me one thing. I can't decide what my color of my hair is. I don't just don't ask me any questions." Because I'm like, can't. One more will break me. But I wake up so just in awe of
Yeah.
being able to be part of what God's doing in this community, which is the ripple effects I know I will never see, but there are a lot of ripples.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, I have one other question before for you before I let you go. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, am I going to bring this up? I am going to bring this up. So, you know this, of course, and I've been noticing that there's been a lot of shifts in the network marketing industry over the last, I don't know, handful of months.
Mhm.
Companies, even a friend of mine who had a company that wasn't network marketing and then became network marketing and then went back to an affiliate only model. Others that have been network marketing structures for maybe decades or something like
Yes.
that have gone to affiliate model. What when you're when you're looking at that and looking at that in your industry, number one, do you have a sense for what causes that and what God's shown you about how you do business that's helping to keep that aspect of happening? Like, talk to me about that. I'm not even sure exactly what I want to ask you. I just want your perspective. What's the Michelle take on
Well,
this and how it
okay.
connects to your business model? What
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, I know this happens in your life. God tells you to do something, and you're like, okay. And you don't really know the ramifications of what you've done until
Yeah,
maybe a long time after. So when we were building the comp plan, I felt this really like this something that was really important to me when we were putting it together was that we had an aspect to the comp plan that allowed people to come in like because influencer marketing has changed the marketplace in general, but it's really changed network marketing because before so influencers they want to talk about a product. They don't want to build teams. They have influence online so they can
right.
say like this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. Here's my link, go buy it,
Yep.
and people like that person so they go buy the thing.
Yes.
So it seemed very natural for them to sign up into a network marketing company because then it's residual every time the person buys that product. But network marketing companies are like, yes, we got them. And now you can't sell anything else because
Right.
you're locked into our little culty community. And so influencers are like, see ya, I'm out.
Right.
I don't want anything to do with network marketing. But I want influencers in my company. I like to call them faith influencers. I want people that are on fire for the Lord to come and talk about what we have. And but knowing that they don't want to be locked. They
Yes.
want to have the freedom to I'm an entrepreneur. I don't like cages, rules. I don't like that. And I don't want to create that for other people. So when we built into the compensation plan, we built an aspect specifically with this in mind for people that wanted to have the benefits of being in a network marketing company, product that they could earn residually on over and over and over every time somebody, uses it. In our case, it's our membership, our mentorship programs. But also be able to reap the benefits of what people that build teams do. So we created this unique thing where even if you didn't build a team, but you were an influencer and you had a lot of customers that came into the company, you could still benefit like a network marketer. So they get the same benefits. They get the same bonuses. We created a volume based only compensation plan.
Ah,
And like at the time, people were like, okay, like nobody, that's cool. Not like nobody, people were not that thrilled about it. I mean, it
right.
just was cool, but like, okay, whatever. Well, I believe that God gave us divine revelation because so Bobby and I are network marketers. What happens in a lot, and we're a privately owned company. What happens with a lot of companies is that as they get big, there's like this, they end up needing more funding or they get traded on the stock market or whatever. They're a publicly traded company. That brings in all these other influences.
Right.
And so you have people that are not in network marketing. They don't give a rat's about the people in the field. All they care about is the bottom line, the numbers. So they look at the numbers of here's what would happen to our profit margin if we got rid of all paying down all these levels and we only paid like one level through affiliates, and they're
Right.
like duh, and they don't care.
Mm.
They haven't done it, they're not in it. And so that's what happened specifically with one company. I happen to know that the founders actually didn't like network marketing.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why they chose the model. And I don't know if there was other things behind the scene, like
Sure.
maybe they got in trouble for something regulatory. I don't know, but
Right.
they were more than happy to get rid of it. And so that happens a lot. People are like, "Look how much more money we could make if
Yeah.
we just got rid of this and we, only paid through affiliate models." And
Right.
there was a couple companies in the '80s that did it only to get started. There was a product called Metabolife. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so Metabolife started as a network marketing company. They got tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of customers. As soon as they did that, boom, they pulled the network marketing aspect and put that product in retail stores. Pac Bell did it with the first cell phones that came out here in
Oh, wow.
California. I knew all these people that were selling cell phones to everybody. As soon as they got thousands and thousands of customers, boom, they pulled that aspect from from the people that did it. So there are predatory people that do it. There are other people that just don't know the profession, look at the bottom line that do it. It's always financial. It
Yeah,
always hurts the people in the field. And what people are, they're seeing the fact that influencer marketing is a thing out there. So if we
yeah,
could just look at all these influencers, but that is, it's small. And network
yeah,
marketing in general is built up of average Joe people, regular people who like talk to other regular people, and they get to earn off the efforts of the sales of a small group of regular people that grows into a larger group because you told three people who told three people who told three people. Now there's 45 people, but you only told three, and you
right,
get to earn off the efforts of all of those. That's something the average people can do. It
right.
costs the company more money. There's a lot more problems involved with it because there's more people, but
Yeah.
I am a network marketer. I love the profession. We're not going anywhere. And I believe that God gave us divine insight when we built the compensation plan to allow for to the change in the marketplace. So
Yes.
we're privately owned. We're never going to not be private. Have no desire, nothing in the future looking to say we can't wait to be publicly. No, I'm not beholden to anybody but my Father
Right.
in heaven.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad I asked you that. That was
I feel
super good
bad. I
stuff.
feel really bad for people. And then there's
Yeah,
all these people, network marketing is dying. It will never die. It is a very, very effective marketing strategy for the average company and for the average people. It is a word of mouth marketing. It's how I built my whole business doing hair. It will Word of mouth marketing is always king.
yeah,
Influencer marketing is word of mouth marketing, but
right.
they've just built this giant influence over, platforms.
Well, this is my hope personally, is that what you all are modeling will then be multiplied in other companies so that you can begin to see more of the goodness of doing some things some different ways, and you begin to see that influence happening at an industry level. I'm actually really, in fact, I'm pretty sure just because of the nature of just who you are and how you show up that, before I even look, it'll be like, "Oh, you guys have a whole conference filled with other folks that are doing network marketing stuff and helping folks make some shifts and how they approach this business." I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably like 2024. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You'd be like, you let me know like 6 months from now, hey, at the end of 2025, we got XYZ going because you are Michelle Schaffer. And so I'm just excited. You know that I'm a fan. I love what you're doing. I'm an advocate of just you, Bobby now as well, of what you all are doing. And it's just super, super good. So how do you just tell folks like if they're interested in learning more, where do they go?
Before I say that, I just want to say thank you to you. You've been such a wonderfully powerful voice in my life, which I would say for years and years, but apparently it's not even two. But that's been so big that it feels like a long time. And you have been such a good friend, and I just appreciate you, what you're doing. And I always tell you, like, I just am excited to be around you, to know you, to learn from you, and to do this thing that we're doing in the world together. We need each other. Like, we need
Yes.
to align, and it's not about competing, because like we're not competing.
Nope.
We are on a mission for the kingdom, and it's
Yes.
really, really great to be aligned with people like you. You can find me at ourkingdomalliance.com, and we're on all the social media platforms, and we do a live prayer call every Monday that's open to anybody and everybody. And we do it on our YouTube channel. It goes on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our LinkedIn page, Our Kingdom
Nice.
Alliance. It's just Kingdom Alliance, but the
Yeah.
website is Our Kingdom Alliance. But on
Okay.
social
All the
media,
social
it's just
profiles are Kingdom Alliance.
Kingdom Alliance.
Got it. Okay.
But the website is Our Kingdom Alliance because somebody else owns it and I haven't bought them from them yet. So whoever you are out there, like, call me,
Call me.
hook me up, friend.
I
Anyway,
love it.
yeah, and same with you. Like, you're doing amazing things in South Africa. I know God is gonna just that's gonna bless so many lives, and I love watching it. So thank you for being you.
Absolutely. Love you, Michelle. Thanks for joining me today.